From the Open Season Property Studio, welcome to Super Talk Outdoors, where we celebrate every single Monday at lunchtime the world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi, because this is the capital of the outdoors in America. It's December the 23rd, 2024. 2024 is almost done as we barrel in to 2025. I hope everyone's having a great hunting season. This is a beautiful time of the year for me and my family and my friends. We spend a lot of time up in the Mississippi Delta, getting to know the people better that we interact with up there. We've had just a wonderful season from a hunting point of view. Wish the duck hunting was a little bit better, but still, have had some good duck hunts. Great opening day and a little bit slow. Hopefully, we'll get some cold weather in January. Listen, I'm really looking forward to the show today. We've got Ricky Flynt, who's the executive director for the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund, but he's a longtime outdoorsman, longtime employee in his previous career at the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, and someone I just enjoy having on the show. I just thought I'd have him come in today. And since this is December the 23rd, as we're barreling toward Christmas, we just kind of have a little bit of fun today, and maybe some serious moments when we talk about safety. But we just want to talk about this wonderful time of the year in Mississippi, and share with you, a time of year that's special to you too. So without any further ado, let me bring my friend Ricky Flynt back into the conversation and just say, how you doing, my friend?
Doing very well, and Merry Christmas. And it's good to be here. Looking forward to an extended holiday season.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, we're going to talk about safety. I end the show on safety every year, but I couldn't help but notice that you recently were involved in an important nonprofit effort involving kids that really has to touch your heart when you do what you did. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I'm a volunteer and certified host with the Catch a Dream Foundation, which was founded right here in Mississippi. Started along with the efforts of Bruce Brady from Brookhaven, Mississippi. This foundation was started in the year 2000 as an effort to fill the niche that was left void when Make-A-Wish Foundation made a policy change that they would no longer offer wishes for children that involved hunting and fishing. And it was Bruce's dream that one day an organization would fill that niche. And that is exactly what Catch a Dream has done. And I have been involved with Catch a Dream Foundation since the very beginning. It was something that struck my heart as a really great organization for a good cause. And I couldn't be more satisfied to be involved with them. It's a great organization. And like you said, I just got back from a trip. We took a young fella, 15 years old, from Ohio. Like all of our trips, we involve children under the ages of 18 who have life-threatening illnesses, and they are granted the opportunity to go on a hunting and fishing trip of their dream. And Catch a Dream does everything they can to make an exact adventure for what they are looking for. And fortunately, Catch a Dream has a couple hundred of outfitters across the country, including Alaska and maybe even a few in Canada, that offer their resources, whether it's hunting or fishing, a lodge, a property, to outfit these kids for the dream that they are looking for. And this trip just happened to be in Texas. It was a whitetail hunt, and the kid was successful on the second day and made an excellent shot. Killed his very first deer, even though he had been numerous times with his dad over the years. And so we made that dream come true, and got him a buck. It was a mainframe 10 with a few kickers. So it actually had about 13 points and scored around 155 inches. So he was tickled, as we were. And as usual, I'm the one that gets blessed by the opportunity. I know the kid and his family was blessed and extremely touched by this opportunity to get away from the life that they are dealt with, this life-threatening illnesses. And that's one of the things that I have learned is getting to meet these parents and understanding what they have to deal with. Their life and their struggles never end. And this Catch a Dream Foundation offers the opportunity for these families to get away from all of that they struggle with from day to day, hour to hour. And it's an amazing opportunity, and I look forward to every chance I get to go.
Well, good for you for going, and thanks for sharing that with us. I've had the folks from Catch a Dream on before, and we've told the story that you alluded to where the Make-A-Wish Foundation decided not to include hunting and fishing trips, which is amazing when you think about it, because every child in the South and many across the United States, they were brought up in a hunting and fishing family or around hunting and fishing. And their dream has nothing to do with Disney World or having a fine bike or whatever it might be. It's they want to go catch a fish or they want to go hunting. And it's really unfortunate that Make-A-Wish shifted away from that. But boy, what a void that was filled by the Catch a Dream Foundation. What a wonderful line of success they've had in showing kids their dream. And
it all started right here in Mississippi. And
isn't that awesome?
It's something we should be extremely proud of. Children from all across the country find out about Catch a Dream, and they make application, and an application is granted. And there have been in the neighborhood of 800 plus Catch a Dream adventures granted since the year 2000, and nearly every state in the country, and including Alaska, have been the host of many of these trips, whether it's hunting or fishing.
Super special, man. Of course, you've seen TV shows that have been built around it, and they've done a great job of letting people know what these experiences look like and feel like. As you pointed out, I mean, you're not just blessing the child, because it certainly is a blessing for that child. You're giving more of a blessing to the family and the people around it, the volunteers. You can't help but just be inspired by being involved in that, can you?
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, I get to go on maybe 2 trips a year with Catch a Dream Foundation. And it is a refreshing wake up call for me every time. Every time I come away from it with a new look on life, a new reminder not to take things for granted. And I could tell one little story about how simple things are that we take for granted. I had a kid that came from the state of New Jersey, completely wheelchair bound. We picked him up in the airport in Dallas, flew to Corpus Christi, and we got in the rental vehicle and we were headed to our fishing trip. And as we were riding down the highway, I heard the fella behind me saying, "Mom, look how far you can see. Mom, look at the grass. Mom, look, that restaurant has a parking lot." And I was trying to figure out what he was talking about with the grass and look how far you can see. And the mom explained to me, where we live, if you go to a restaurant, it is in a multi-story building. There are no parking lots. From where we live, you can't see the horizon. He doesn't get to see broad fields or agricultural crops and as far as you can see. And it instantly woke me up to, my goodness, those simple things that I take for granted, just take it for granted, how far I can see and the things I get to see every day in my field and where I live. And it was a trip of a lifetime for the whole family to be able to do what we did.
There's no doubt about that. And it's a good reminder that this time of year, I think some people move so fast through the year, they get so focused on that buck or that duck or whatever that they forget to just take a deep breath and look
Yeah.
around and thank God that we have this incredible opportunity to enjoy the outdoors in Mississippi, this incredible opportunity to be with friends and family and to live in the moment, live in this moment, because we can't do a darn thing about yesterday and we can only plan for tomorrow. But the one thing we can be certain about is this moment. And when you're in the outdoors, whether it's in a situation that you're just describing or whether it's, alone in the outdoors, what a wonderful opportunity to almost be in a prayer and thanking God for life and this moment and things that are around us. It's very special, isn't it?
It is. I tell my wife all the time, and she's extremely supportive for me to get out and get in the outdoors, to be alone. Um, I am absolutely certain that some of my best life events have been solved by being alone in the woods with a rifle in my hand. I know that the Spirit speaks to me when I'm alone, and I solve so many problems. And if we as hunters will learn to put that cell phone down, get out of that box stand, sit on the ground, and let it happen.
No doubt. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Ricky Flynt. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to SuperTalk Outdoors from the Open Season Properties Studio. Listen, Open Season Properties is a full-service real estate company with a team approach philosophy that ensures your needs are of the highest priority, whether you're looking for rural land, residential, or commercial properties. Open Season Properties markets and sells real estate in Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia, and they're dedicated to the development of long-term client relationships and unwavering commitment to service. Listen, go to openseasonproperties.com to learn more. We're thrilled to have them as the sponsor for the SuperTalk Outdoor Studio. Now let's get back to my friend Ricky Flynt. And it's hard. It's not hard is the point I'm making. It's not hard to reflect, to look at this time of year and just look around us and to thank God for sort of where we are. I know that's the thought I have all the time. I think as you get older, you appreciate it more. When you get older and you look at your sons and daughters and grandchildren, kind of soak it up and live in the moment when you see the smiles on their face for just being at camp, not even having anything to do with harvesting anything, but just being at the camp and being able to run outside and just sit by the campfire. Everyone's got a story to tell, Ricky. Everyone's got a feeling that they have about this. It's an enduring connection that we all get closer to this time of year. And there's literally no denying it. And I would say hundreds of thousands of people across the state of Mississippi can relate to everything that I'm saying right now about this moment. But you lived an entire career in it, and you see the dedication that people have, not only to conserve and protect it, but to enjoy it. And that's
Right.
the thing that made your career tick all these years, isn't it?
Right. And, if along those lines, if I could encourage folks, especially the younger generation, when you have the opportunity to spend some time with the older folks, that sometimes if you're in a hunting camp, there's always those older members that are going to share information with you. They're going to share insights. They're going to share their passion, the way they hunt. One thing I see all the time is that hunting for everyone is a progression. You start out with that passion, you're chasing and you're focused on, whatever it is that you're after, whether it's deer, turkey, or ducks or whatever. And there comes a time in your life where you transition a little bit, and it becomes more about the experience than it does the taking of an animal. And that's what you'll hear from those older individuals that you hunt with. And it's just like anything else. When you're growing up and you're parenting kids, you try to give them advice. They don't understand it. They don't get it. But later on in life, they do. And it's the same thing with hunting. People they just get it later on in their life, and just encourage people to do that. And you'll see those older individuals scolding the younger folks that they're with about the way they handled the gun, the way they hunted, the decisions they made, what they shot and killed, and what they didn't, and letting things go. And as you get older, those things start to make more sense, and it clicks to you.
It does. It does. I sit back and watch. Again, we call it a hunting club, but it's really just kind of a family thing. I lease land in the Delta, and have invited 2 or 3 of my friends to join in with me, and then the rest are family members. And when there's a child at the camp, you watch how everybody kind of looks out for each other. That's one of the beautiful things about a hunting camp is, if a child's getting a little bit astray, if the dad's not there, the granddad's not there, somebody's going to, reach out and say, look, come on back in, and let's get you in check. But the discipline that you're learning, and what you're learning about safety specifically, that I've taught my sons this offshore for many years, in our fishing life, and certainly in our hunting life, is that when you're 100 miles offshore, or you're up in a tree stand by yourself, you don't get a chance. You usually don't get a chance. Excuse me, a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make the right decisions the first time, or you could get an injury that could either take your life, or you could change your life forever. And so I don't want that to happen to any of the people around me. So, like, for example, things like open breaches, even if the gun is in your truck, open breach. Because on this show, sitting in this chair, the horror stories, Ricky, that I hear that the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks never find out about because someone didn't get seriously injured or whatever, where guns go off in the back of trucks and blow a hole in the side of the truck, or when someone shot a big buck and they put another bullet in, and they forgot they put another bullet in, and they forgot to put it on safety, and the gun, they brush the trigger, and the gun goes off, and thank God it goes out into the woods and it doesn't harm anybody. But these close call horror stories, someone who almost falls out of a stand, or misses a step and falls, but doesn't fall to the point that they need, an ambulance or anything like that. We hear about the ones that unfortunately someone's injured or killed. We don't hear about the close calls.
Right.
But you don't get a second chance usually, bro. I mean, and you know what's interesting too, Ricky? The times that I hear the most problems are really from experienced hunters that kind of drop their guard momentarily.
Right.
They took something about their hunting experience for granted. But man, we look out for each other. And we think it's right to say, I notice your breech isn't open. Open your breech real quick, and let's just make sure it's not loaded. I mean, just even if we're in the field, we say that to each other, and nobody takes it offensively. We say, "Oh, thank you for reminding me. Well, let's take care of the business."
And any accident is unfortunate, and it couldn't happen at a worse time of the year than for something like that to happen this time of year. And it's always good to just remind folks, good gun handling safety, tree stand safety, boating safety. There's just too many things. I know that in my career as a law enforcement officer with the MDWFP, one of the most dangerous parts of being a conservation officer is interacting with hunters who are handling a firearm at the time, and being sure that their gun is unloaded, being sure that they're handling it safely. And I can tell you there have been a number of occasions. I can think of a few particular ones on where I was working waterfowl enforcement on some of our state WMAs that are strictly, waterfowl opportunities. And we do a lot of compliance checks there. And, one of the first things we do after we introduce ourselves and, kind of break the ice a little bit, how was your hunt doing? The next thing we do is we check firearms. That's the first thing. And we always ask them, is your firearm unloaded? And I can't tell you how many times, but I definitely can remember a few where they said, "Oh yeah, my firearm's unloaded," and it was in a case. And I remember one particular incident, or one particular day, I had been swept by the barrel of a loaded firearm at least twice, maybe three times that morning. And I was on edge about it. It really upsets you when you realize that a loaded gun was pointed at you and the person holding it didn't know that it was unloaded, but treated it as if it was. And this particular individual pulled out a gun that was in a case and literally pointed the gun in the case right at me. And I was ducking around and moving around, and he was like, "What's up?" And I said, "Hey, you got to handle that gun more safe than that, please." He says, "Oh, it's unloaded." I said, "I don't care. You always treat that gun as though it's loaded at all times." And he pulled the gun out of the case, and I asked him to hand the gun to me. And when I got the gun, as we always do, we checked the breech, we checked the receiver. I opened up the receiver, shotgun shell fell out, and another shotgun shell fell up into the receiver. And I won't repeat how that dialogue went after that, but I was upset. And the point I was wanting to get across to this individual is, my wife knows that I go out into the field in law enforcement every day, and she worries that, something will happen, that I'll get in some kind of confrontation with someone and I could lose my life in the act of law enforcement. But how stupid would she feel if I got killed by someone who is just not handling a firearm safely
And
and foolishly? So
listen, we're about the end of the segment. I got a call from a farmer who knew that I was formerly a paramedic, and someone was firing at a shooting range, and one of the bullets misfired, and some fragments went into his eye. He ended up having to go to Jackson and the whole 9 yards. But he was firing an old bullet. We studied these bullets. These bullets, there's no telling how old they were. And just, out of a modern rifle, modern rifles aren't really used to some of these old bullets. And it was a really dangerous situation. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Ricky Flynt. Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors from the Open Season Property Studio. Listen, are you looking to purchase the perfect piece of hunting property, upgrade your farm equipment, or have you been dreaming of owning your slice of heaven out in the country? Look no further than Mississippi Land Bank for your financing needs. For more than 100 years, farming families and landowners in North Mississippi have turned to Mississippi Land Bank for all kinds of financial solutions, whether it's for land, equipment, or livestock. For more information, visit mslandbank.com or go by and see one of their friendly staff at any of their offices. Mississippi Land Bank, thrilled to have them as a sponsor of Super Talk Outdoors. Having a lot of fun here this time of year as we reflect on hunting with my friend Ricky Flynt, who is the executive director for the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund. Had a long career at the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. But we're having a bit of a serious conversation about safety. I end every show, Ricky, with please put safety first. Always put safety first. Don't let an accident change your life forever. I end every show that way because I want to remind people. Again, as I sit in this chair and more people contact me, more the close calls and the not so close calls that happen across the state every year, oftentimes by, as I mentioned, experienced hunters who just dropped their guard. But as we've said so many times before, one of the most dangerous things that people do is climbing up in a tree stand. I mean, we hear it over and over and over again. Not putting good straps on. Maybe there's something wrong with the tree stand. They didn't have a safety rope on and just missed a step. There's a lot of different things that can happen, but you've seen it in your career as well, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Seen it to the point where I made a decision about 12 or 15 years ago that I just don't climb trees anymore. Regardless of the ability to wear a harness, I just find that it's not that great of an advantage. It doesn't mean that much to me, and I can have just as good a quality hunt on the ground or from a semi-elevated stand. But I just don't climb trees anymore. There's too much to go wrong.
There is, for sure. There are a couple of friends that hunt with me, and I won't let them get in ladder stands. I mean, you need to be fully healthy. You need to put safety first to be able to do it. And if you've got like a bad knee or maybe you're a little bit shaky,
You
not a
know,
good thing.
even if you are wearing a harness, once you fall and the harness has saved your life, it ain't over yet. Uh, it's a very tough situation to get yourself to where you can get down when you're hung from a harness. And it may require you to get additional help. And that help may not be within hollering distance, and you may not be able to get to your cell phone by all these types of things. So that harness, it saves you from the immediate threat, but it's not over yet.
Hey man, you're right about that. And of course, you've heard the stories as well. When someone falls, they're in the harness. They didn't. Obviously, they're suspended now, but the way the harness is cutting across the bottom of their thighs, then now you've got a potential circulatory issue. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is not something that you can just sit there and hang for a period of time. You got to resolve it as quickly as possible. One of the cool things about the way new safety ropes are working, it gives you just a little bit more flexibility.
Right.
We use safety ropes in most scenarios. That seems to be a much better approach. If people haven't looked into those, you probably should. Ricky, you were mentioning kind of a funny moment about 12 years ago. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. So the folks who are near and dear to me have heard the story. And if we had the time, I could probably tell it with the adequate inflections to get a tremendous laugh out of the audience. But we'll give you the short version. It was about 12 or 15 years ago. Me and myself and a buddy of mine were hunting some public land, waterfowl hunting. The Mississippi River was flooded, and we knew how to get into a particular area given the high water situation. It was extremely cold, and it was going to be getting even colder that night, deep freeze. And we launched a boat. We launched a boat with just bare minimum supplies and things in there. We had our decoys, we had life jackets, we had a push pole, we had our ammunition, we had our guns, we had some coffee. We didn't have any food. We even left our cell phones in the truck because we thought, well, we can't. The cell phones won't get out anyway, so we'll just leave them in the truck. That way, we don't drop them in the water. Well, the short version is, as we were navigating through the flooded timber, we got the boat wedged between two trees, two significant trees. The smallest tree was probably about 12 to 15 inches in diameter where we were hung up. The other tree was probably 30 inches. And we were in about 15 feet of water. Our push pole just barely would touch the bottom, so we couldn't get any leverage. The hull of the boat we were in was a commercial hull. We couldn't get it to flex. We couldn't get out. The boat was wedged. And the only thing we had was a piece of rope and a flathead screwdriver. And we used that rope and the flathead screwdriver to throw it out over a branch that was behind us. We used the push pole to pull the screwdriver back to us. And we used that as a leverage to try and pull us off. We tried for over an hour, both of us, pushing and kicking and getting out of hanging onto the tree and pushing on the gunnels of the tree. We could not get the boat to release. And a last ditch effort, we decided the only way to get out was to shoot the tree down. And we literally shot a 15-inch oak tree down about 16 feet off the ground, 3 shots at a time. And as we shot through the tree, just working through it, just like a beaver would, until the tree eventually fell. And at some point, we actually realized, you know what? We have one more problem. If this tree doesn't happen to fall in the right direction, we're in even bigger trouble. We made sure we had our life jackets on. We were about a half a mile from the nearest dry ground. It was a bad situation. I don't make light of it. It was a life-threatening situation. We shot the tree down. It did eventually fall. It landed safely out the other way. We continued on our hunt, and we actually ran into some other hunters in a few minutes. And they stopped us, and they flagging us down. Hey man, stop! And they said, "Have you heard that shooting?" And we were like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they said, The guy says, man, as long as I've lived, my dad told me if you ever get in trouble, shoot your gun up in the air 3 times. And I'm telling you, whoever it was, they shot 3 times like 20 times. He said, somebody's in trouble. And we said, nah, we hadn't heard that shooting. I don't know what you're talking about. And we rolled on. It was us. And I think we counted up, it was 52 rounds that we expired from that shotgun to get that tree down.
Wow.
Was
it cold?
Yes, it was cold. It was below freezing then, and it was going to get into the teens that night. And
that's scary.
One thing I learned was you can't carry enough stuff with you. Be prepared. Always carry some food. Always carry some water. Carry your cell phone regardless, because it might be your only ability. And here's the other thing. Nobody, not anybody within our family or friends knew where we were. They didn't know where we had gone hunting that day. Nobody would have come looking for us. And
wow.
The light bulb went off, and I tried to teach that to everyone about the mistakes I made, that I should have known better. And ever since, you won't see me in those situations again.
Hey, you know what's interesting? The Find My app on your Apple iPhone. I'm assuming that the others have them as well. That Find Me app is really good. And so one of my friends, he loves to hunt. He's a great hunter, but he is a little shaky, so sometimes I worry about even if he's, climbing into a shooting house, And I said, why don't we do this? Why don't I share my Find Me with you, and you do the same thing with me, so I can always know where you are, and you can always know where I am.
Yeah.
And we did that, and so now we're actually able to track each other. I love that. Even if I'm here and he's up there, or he's here and I'm up there, vice versa. I'm able to know where he is at all times.
Technology has become a great thing. It's a resource that helps us. Don't be silly about not sharing your location with people. Always let someone know where you're going, even if you're with other people. And those apps like that and Life 360 and things like that can be an absolute lifesaver to you.
There's no question. Let me tell you quickly. I was at one of our farms. We had shot one of my friends had shot a doe. We were looking for the doe, and on my way out, I had my phone. On my way out, though, about a 20-yard stretch of really thick woods, I dropped my phone. And the way I found it is my son, who was in Gulfport, could see it on his Find Me, and I got near it and just called it, and it lit up, and there it was. It was there. Otherwise, buddy, I would have been in serious trouble. That phone would have been lost, and my wife would have killed me, because that would have been the 5th phone I needed. It helps
to be able to recall the phone numbers of the people who can help you as well, because they're in your contacts and you don't even know their phone number.
And that's something that's not good either. Hey, listen, when we come back, we'll finish our conversation with Ricky Flynt. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors from the Open Season Property Studio. Listen, in a world where honesty and dependability are rare, Austin Seals and Jordan Blissett of Open Season Properties stand out with their commitment to integrity and hard work. With a background in agriculture science, marketing, and hunting land development, this team offers a real service that you can rely on when you're buying or selling real estate. Whether it's your family property or your first piece of ground, they understand the significance of every transaction. Specializing in recreational land, poultry farms, investment properties, farm and timberlands, and more. They're here to meet all your real estate needs. Give Austin Seals and Jordan Blissett at Open Season Properties a call today and experience the difference. Again, we're thrilled to have Austin and Jordan as sponsors of Super Talk Outdoors. Back to Ricky Flynt. We're going to get some headlines on the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund. But before we do it, I just got a note from my friend. He said, between the three of us, this is hunting at the farms that I lease up in the Mississippi Delta, we watched 7 bucks chasing does for 2 hours, all young bucks, 2 8s, 2 6, 2 6s, 2 4s, and a 9. And then they sent me some videos and some great pictures. But what a great time of the year to be in a stand, Ricky.
It's time. If you're a deer hunter and you're in the state of Mississippi, it's a week before Christmas Day, a week after Christmas Day, you need to be in the woods. The rut is going on. I don't care where you are in the state. There is some rutting activity taking place, and it's the time to be in the woods. And just remember to be safe and and take somebody with you, especially somebody young or somebody who's never been hunting before. Let them be a part of it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And we will definitely be there ourselves after Christmas for sure.
Hope you
Outdoor
have a great
Stewardship
season.
Trust. Go ahead. Sorry. Say it again.
Just say, I hope you have a great season.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm looking forward to being with my sons. My son Justin comes down from New York, and my son Jordan, who is often with me up there. With three of us to be together, so it'll be very, very special. The Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund is something we all work so hard on, and you guys hit the ground running. You're the executive director. You've got an incredible board of trustees, and you continue to do great work, don't you?
We do, and we've actually expanded our staff by 100% since the last time I talked with you. We hired Caitlin Wallace as a project specialist. She's working for us now, and she has made leaps and bounds improvements to what we've been able to do technological wise. And she came to us from the Mississippi Department of Corrections, and we're glad to have her. Great addition to the Outdoor Stewardship Trust. And we've just we've just finished scoring the latest round of project applications that we received in August and September. The board has just completed those scores over this last weekend, and we are in the process of tabulating all those scores and ranking the projects as the board has scored them. So we'll be making some funding decisions on the next round of projects to be awarded at our January 8th board meeting coming up. And just looking at it right now, I think there's the possibility we could be funding as many as 25 projects in this round. We have about 13 million, just a little over 13 million in available funds for the board to award. We received 59 applications this round, and we have 57 for them to score. 2 of those projects were not eligible for the Outdoor Stewardship Trust funds, but great round of applications. We've got some good ones in there. I'm excited about what the board is going to be able to work with that.
Hey, Ricky, one of the things that we really pushed hard and still obviously are pushing hard as it relates to this is the notion of matching funds. The more matching funds, the better.
Right.
A lot of federal programs out there that have buckets that we can tap into. How is that part going?
It's going great. So with our current projects that have been awarded, we've awarded over $24.2 million in funding to 52 different projects. Out of that 24.2 million, we have an additional $61.3 million in matching funds that have come to the state of Mississippi as a result of these project awards. Much of that is federal matching dollars and non-state funds. And that is where we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. Not only to be able to award funding to good projects that are great for Mississippians, great for Mississippi wildlife and outdoor recreation, but additionally be able to bring in funds that are not provided through the state, whether it's private contributions, in-kind funds, federal matching funds. All these things are contributing. So near about it's actually a little over 3-to-1 match is what we've averaged so far. And we hope to continue that string with the continued awards.
Well, we'll have you as we get into the legislative session. We'll have you back, and we'll do a complete review so that people can have a great example of why it's important for us to stay focused on this effort and why we work so hard to do it. The work is so important, and if we weren't doing these projects, we may not be doing them at all if we didn't have the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund. So, Ricky,
we're already making plans to be available to the legislature. We're going to have Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust Day at the Rotunda, February 27th. We're going to be meeting with the Wildlife and Senate committees early in February, give them an update on everything we've done, and try and give them a good report of what they've done.
Well, listen, have a great Christmas, my friend. Everyone stay safe in the outdoors, and we will see you next week. God
Merry
bless
Christmas.
you.
Have a safe season.